Here we are again, Echo.
Hi, lady. What's happening?
And we just had our first Playmate Roundtable. So the first two Playmates, because we didn't start the show out with Playmates.
No, we started out interviewing very long-term employees at Playboy. Minimum 22 years, max 55 years.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, it's been fascinating.
Editors, staff writers, photographers. It's been phenomenal, and it speaks volumes to Hugh Hefner and the company and Playboy, the
and
living, breathing brand it was.
Yeah. But here we are again, and it's not only
not only Playmates.
I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, Echo.
I know. I'm the
but
only
I
one
don't
that's
know.
not.
I don't know if German Playboy and all. This is serious.
This is a big deal. I know. Thanks for letting me in, ladies.
This is the creme.
The creme de la creme. Indeed.
It's a secret society.
Yes, it is.
It's a total secret.
So we're having our Playmate of the Year roundtable.
Yes.
And we have two phenomenal guests here. Gorgeous. Of course, they haven't aged a day.
Legendary.
We have the very first Black Playmate of the Year, Renee Tenison. and legendary
1989, right?
I was Playmate 89
and PMOY.
Yes,
1990.
Yeah, she's a 90s.
I'm a
She's
90s
a 90s girl. Yeah, you kind of had your
Yeah.
foot in both. That is fascinating.
And right here, it also says 2001 was selected as one of the 10 sexiest women of the year by readers of Black Men magazine.
Love
it. Oh, and you wait.
Oh,
you guys,
no.
Renee, can you just move your mic closer?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
We're gonna.
no.
Okay, cool. Let's start it over then.
But-
Cool.
Oh, it was such a great intro. We can use some of that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
So just introduce her again.
We have with us 1990 Playmate of the Year. And wait, what month for night?
It was at 89. I was on the cusp between
Yes,
November.
cusp. We were just
November
saying she had her
89.
foot
And I rolled
in
off into
the
1990.
80s and rolled right into the
Exactly.
90s. Very first Black Playmate of the Year, gorgeous Renee Tenison.
Woohoo!
Yes,
And then you redid your cover, and you as well, Brandy, and we'll get to that too, right? Did you redo
did the an issue together, the
Yes, we
equality
did.
issue.
Yes, we did.
the
Yes.
equality issue? But you reshot your cover, and
I did.
I have to say, your second go round, I thought was better than the
I
first.
did
Renee.
too.
It was awesome.
I did
You know,
too.
it's like you get rid of your baby fat.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
Yeah.
true, right?
You're more
Yeah.
distinguished. You're
Exactly.
a woman.
Yeah.
You
You
know, a
are, you
beautiful
are.
woman. Exactly.
Yeah, and those pictures actually from the equality issue. First time I saw them, thanks for sending those, and they're going to be in our slideshow when
Oh,
we put this all
fun.
together.
Cool.
Awesome pics,
Oh,
love
it
it.
was fun.
So like forward thinking, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for being here, Miss
Thank you
Renee.
for having me.
Yeah, you
So
got
I
it.
got great
Excited.
company over here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to
Oh
our
my
right,
God. To our
we've
right.
got the one and only Miss Brandy Roderick.
Woo!
Playmate of the Year 2000.
2001.
Yes,
2001.
April 2000.
Okay.
Yep.
Incredible.
I remember meeting you right when you came in. I remember you actually. I was staying there, and you're like, "Come on, we're gonna go shopping. Come with us." And I was
Oh,
like, "We took off in your little
exciting.
Mercedes."
But I know what's funny is now sitting here, even when we start talking about Playmates, so many
all these
memories
things
of
come
different.
flooding back.
I
And we're like,
remember we
"Yeah,
coached-
when?"
I just thought of this morning when we coached those they were football players, the Playboy All-American team in Miami.
Oh, I remember.
In the sand volleyball court.
Oh, the
I hadn't thought of
yeah.
that in 30 years. And there we were. It was hilarious. They were spiking the ball and couldn't play volleyball. And we were laughing so hard.
I remember I helped you with your makeup.
Yes, I was
Remember?
a baby.
You were
yes.
a baby, and you had something.
I didn't know how to walk in
and you
heels.
didn't know how to do her makeup.
She didn't
and
know
I
how
was
to
like,
walk in
I'll
heels.
help
She
you.
took me under her
Yeah, I
wing.
took her under my wing. I was
Like
like, I'll
Barbara
help you,
did
girl.
to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, she did. She's like,
Nice.
no, just do this.
Yeah.
You need to do something with those brows.
so
You had the best brows, like
right.
the best.
Didn't we all though? I swear
Right?
to God. And then
Right?
yeah, you
then
went
they
into
thin
Playboy
out.
and they
You
like
pluck them too much,
Oh,
and then
I
they're
wish
over.
that they would grow.
I know.
I had a makeup artist completely destroy mine.
You-
For a
yeah, your
photo
brows
shoot
were
that
like the
has-
best.
Oh, and somebody was like, no, we're going to thin them out.
Yeah.
The
That was the
90s.
thing back then.
It
All because of
was.
PM, right? Yeah, the
Yes.
super thin.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
it
you're
was,
right. It
probably
yeah.
was
She
her.
started
Yeah,
Right.
it was definitely that
Dang
pen
her.
sort of-
Well,
Yeah.
that wasn't her. It was Alexis.
Yeah. We'll blame it on Alexis.
Oh, my goodness.
You know,
And
I was
even-
going through my photos when I was sending in, trying to find photos, and I was looking through stuff and I found do you remember we went to City of Hope to do that walk? I saw these pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, there's Corinna right there. And then I went back to try to find him and I couldn't find those darn pictures.
Oh.
But it was a 5K walk in Downey for City of Hope.
Yes.
And we did that together. We walked together. And I'm like, I totally forgot about that.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This
It's
is
so
beautiful and things that we forget.
Yeah,
And
so I got to find those pictures.
yes,
Yeah.
please. And then she came to our screening of a film that that was years ago.
That was a long time ago.
That
was
so,
fun. That
so
was a
gracious
fun-
and
yeah.
kind of you to come to that.
Oh, well.
Support.
It was
It's
awesome. It was fun.
Well, we supported
and
each other.
Brandy.
That's
Oh my gosh,
the Playmate
just
Sisterhood.
thinking of yes. So,
Well,
so let's get down to it.
wait. We're missing one PMOY.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Let us
Do we get an introduction?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
I feel fancy.
This is Corinna Harney, my
Yay.
co-host. Playmate of the Year,
The short person in the room.
1991.
All of these beautiful statuesque.
Oh, my
91 or 92?
Believe it.
It's
I was
1991.
1992. Can you believe it?
And then a
Time
Playmate in 91.
flies.
Where does time go? Well, I mean, it
You look
doesn't even
exactly
make
the
sense.
same.
You
I know.
do.
Look exactly the same.
Both of you better.
Well,
You both look
so
better.
actually, this is something that's come up quite a bit in the interviews that we've been doing, and it's that Hef knew, like he knew when he would pick a woman that there was going to be longevity there, and that they were going to maintain, they were going to be beautiful, and just even mature even
That's
more into
interesting.
being a
You're
beauty.
right.
And it
Yeah.
is very true because every single
Yeah.
He picked
like we're pushing
everyone.
50s
Yeah.
and
I
like
know,
I
right? Yeah.
remember I had to go, like, for PMOY. They were just like, Hef wants to have dinner with you because I was in contention
course.
for it. And they said he wants to make sure you're the one. And so then
Yeah.
I remember I was so scared because I had to
Oh,
have,
I'm so nervous.
I know,
I
I was
wanted
so
to-
nervous.
I could
Yeah. And I had to
imagine.
have dinner with Kimberly and him.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, so tell me about yourself. And I remember I was just like, I was terrified.
You're like,
but then
"Aw."
he was like, he started singing like Someday Renee. And then he just started telling me
Aw,
all
he'd
these
make
things
you
about
at ease.
Idaho.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, he made me feel like relaxed. So then I was
Yeah.
able to just kind of talk. And then, but that was so cool. Like if you were chosen as Playmate of the Year,
Yeah.
it meant something to him. He
Oh.
just didn't pick anybody.
No,
Was
no,
that
no.
your
Right.
first one-on-one with him? Because that's one of
Yeah.
our main
Yeah,
questions.
it was.
Is when you first met Hef, so it was
It
already
was.
a profound moment.
It was because I remember Arnie Freitag had said when you shoot your centerfolds, he said yours came back with PMOY written across it. He goes, so that's a good
Right.
sign.
Oh,
And I was like,
goosebumps.
really? And so then I went to LA to go, to the mansion and do my shoot and stuff because I shot in Chicago. So
Right.
then he
You
said,
both are Chicago
I was in
girls.
Chicago.
yeah,
like all
we
my
were
stuff was
we were Chi-Town girls.
yeah. So everything was shot in Chicago. So then when I
Mhm.
came there, that's when they were like, Hef wants to meet you and see if you're, like you can represent the company. So that's what's
Yeah.
really good. Like when he did pick
Mhm.
every girl,
Yeah.
it truly was.
Yep.
you know,
And he
yeah,
wanted to
exactly.
know
You
who
were
was going to be the
handpicked. You were
face
handpicked,
of that
yeah.
year, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was told I was going to be at like 99% chance, and guess what? I didn't get it.
Who got it that year?
Whatever.
Who was
Jenny
it?
McCarthy.
Oh,
I know.
Why is she
heard
so
she's-
special?
I heard she slipped away.
I love
I'm
Jenny.
kidding. You know how everyone said. I
Yeah.
heard
No,
it's
but I was
because-
way too young to
So
take on that role. I'm glad
silly.
I didn't get that. I was like,
It's always such a
I was
bummer. It's
18.
such a bummer for the
Yeah.
girl that doesn't
Yeah.
get it. It's like,
Yes. Well, I
It's all
remember being
good.
on a bus. I was going to ask you both, but you saying you kind of knew they had already been putting it in your ear because Hef was saying it. It's
And
all,
Kimberly told you. She
yes,
came up to you.
She
and
said, "You're really my big."
It was you and Christina Liradini were walking.
Yeah, and-
Wow.
And Kimberly tells her, and
Well,
Christina
were
goes,
they the
"What
same
fuck
year?
am I,
No,
chopped
well,
liver?"
no. That's not the story. We were walking by the. It was
Yeah.
out to the game room, and Kimberly's walking with us, and she goes, "Corinna, you're just so angelic," and Christina
Aw.
goes, "Does that mean I'm like the devil?"
I liked her.
And Christina,
It was a
in my
beautiful
opinion,
moment.
was one of the
She was
ultimate, the
beautiful.
most beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Those eyes,
Those
man. She was like,
Gorgeous.
she was.
Yeah.
I worked with her several times. I was
Yeah.
mesmerized. She's like a snake. I was
Legendary.
mesmerized with her.
I'm
She's
telling
beautiful.
you,
She's
I
absolutely
slipped through
beautiful.
the cracks. There were a few in my. I don't even get it. It definitely.
Well, it was because you're like the little doll.
They're
That's
like,
what
you're
I
this
have.
big.
You're like that
You're
little
this
cute
big. We'll
doll.
carry her around.
You were
I mean,
like,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah,
Back then I was,
yeah.
I think, that one of the very small. Yeah.
Petite, yeah. You
So-
had that look that, like a little angel. So I'm sure that's
Yeah,
what,
that
you
little
know.
angel.
So
Angelic look.
funny.
So,
Aw.
quick question: submitted or discovered?
yeah.
Both of you submitted.
My boyfriend or fiance at the time had told me he got Playboy, and then I was looking at the girls like Ava Fabian and Pam Stein and all Rebecca Ferrari, and he was like, "You could be one of these girls."
Nice.
Wow.
And so then I did some little photos and sent him in.
And Brandy?
Well, my boyfriend, I was with him and told him, I think I really want to try out to be a playmate. So then my boyfriend Hef said, "Okay, darling, go ahead and go try out."
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
She has the best.
She's got
Yeah.
So, but I had to
boyfriend
go in and do the whole test thing. I tested with Steve and Wada.
Oh my god!
And did all the, whatever. And so, because he's very serious about everything. So he had to see everything. And then when he got the thing back, he said yes.
It was a done
Yes,
deal.
very serious about. I love how
Yeah.
she says that. Very serious about because
Yeah,
you
he had to look through all the
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
and make sure I was playmate material.
and you saw it up
Absolutely,
close
yeah.
and personal,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
from a totally different perspective than
Yeah.
anyone,
Yeah.
than most.
That
It's-
I have to say was I was at the mansion so much during those years, and it was so cool to watch Hef come out of a 10-year marriage and to be able to he came out back into the public basically, and everybody went fucking crazy, but you were definitely his first really major and important
girl
relationship.
that he was.
Yeah.
And you guys were so sweet together.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I know you
That was a
loved
good
him.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yes.
Appreciated
Those-
him.
It was a
so-
good time.
100%.
Thank
You took good care of him too.
Yeah,
Aw,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
You did.
Yeah,
You
It
did.
was awesome.
And he took care of me. We took care of each other.
Yeah, yeah. The total
You're
affinity for each other.
special.
I love that. Thank you.
100%.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to ask now that we're talking about it. How did you meet Hef?
What's funny? The very first time I ever met him, I met a photographer named Leo who was great. He knew that I had this passion to be in Playboy because my mom named me after a Playboy model. Her name was
no
Brandy.
way.
She was
Wow.
9 months pregnant with me, and she went to my uncle's house, and there was this
she
magazine,
saw it.
and she saw it. Her name was
Wow.
Brandy. She's like, "I want my daughter to be that beautiful."
Aw.
Anyway, so Leo knew this, and his friend was Elliot. I don't know if you guys remember Elliot, which was one of Hef's really dearest and oldest friends.
Yeah.
And he said, "Elliot can take you up to movie night."
Ah,
And so he
nice.
brought me up to movie night, and Hef was with Kimberly at the time.
Mhm.
But I had told him the story about my mom and how I was named, and he goes, "Well, let's go look for her." So he brought me to
Into
the
the library.
library, and we
Wow.
went through. This is my first time meeting this guy who I've
That's
always had this vision my
amazing.
whole
Wow.
life.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And there was just too many magazines, obviously.
Showing you
couldn't
who you
find
were
it.
named
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
surreal.
Exactly. So that
Oh
was
yeah,
the
you
very
didn't have a
first
date
time.
in a year, so you guys are just going through the books.
Forever.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
in this time frame.
So we were just like looking. He was just
Talk
so
about
sweet, trying to
fate.
help me.
Aw.
I believe in fate. Like
Yeah.
that's
That was meant to
Absolutely.
be.
But then we met again, probably a year or so later, maybe a year later, after they had already been divorced at a nightclub, and I was there with my friends, and he was there with Heather Kozar and Joel and Allison.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, they were looking at me, and I look, oh my gosh, Heaven. He brought me into the little VIP, and we reignited and
yeah.
connected, and told him who I was, and
cool.
that was
Very
the end of it.
cool.
That was then. Yeah, we were together for
The rest is
over 2
history.
years.
But did you right away were you smitten? Did you think what an incredible
well,
human
yeah.
being? And
I-
the chemistry, all of it.
Totally. And I remember back in the day, we had answering machines, and I remember coming home
And you had
a couple
messages?
days, and he had a message.
Yeah.
Hi, darling, this is Hef. I want to see if I can take you out.
I hope you
I
kept
was like,
that.
oh, no, I wish.
It's like you
I
didn't
was
think about
screaming,
it.
bringing
Oh,
my
that would've
roommates
such a
in
good
there.
message to have.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome.
I was
That
all
would've been-
excited, telling everyone, like, listen to this.
How cute.
So isn't
I
that funny to
love
have Hugh Hefner call you and leave a message on your
Yeah.
answer machine to
Totally
ask you out?
legendary.
Yeah.
No.
And he's such a romantic.
Totally.
I mean, the
Yeah.
epitome.
Yep.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
I know.
Yay.
It was
I
cute.
know.
Very cute.
So we know what
Anyway.
what Brandy's first impression
Yes.
was. when-
Yes,
And then
yes.
you, for the first time, really got to sit down with him and have dinner with him and Kimberly. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just such an icon, and but he's really cool though. Like when you
he's
actually
awesome.
sit down and
he's
talk with him.
easy to
He is,
have a
he is.
conversation with.
It's not as
If he
scary
wants
as
to
you
have a
think.
conversation with
No,
you.
and you
Yeah.
right away warm,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah,
right
he's
away
really
warm and
he's
comfortable.
very inviting, yeah.
Yes.
And
And
so
I-
smart
yeah.
and funny and
Yeah.
And
Oh,
remember
yeah,
when we
very
did the
much so.
60th, and it was so hot that day,
Oh,
and he came
dude.
shuffling out to that
I
lawn,
know. He did
and I just
everything
remember he
could.
turned
Yep.
around and was like, "I love you all,"
Yeah.
and it meant so much.
That was
because I
the
could
last.
tell.
What do you think that was the last time that we were all at the the mansion and saw
absolutely.
Hef all together.
But
for
I
the
felt so
60th
because he was just
anniversary.
shuffling out there,
Yeah.
and it was. But he could truly, I could tell
We
how
have
we
that
were like,
picture.
He
so.
loved.
He
yes,
did. He loved us, you know,
Yeah.
and everybody. We were all just like, you know, but because we were all there, like there were
Hey,
60
Kayla,
girls there for him.
Do you have that picture, the group shot of Hef and all the bunnies that you could throw up on the screen? Because it's legendary. Cool.
Legendary.
Legendary.
That was a fun time too. That was really
That
special.
was so. That was the one and only time I ever wore the bunny suit. When
Me
I was
too.
So
Oh, me
thrilled.
too.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
too?
gosh.
Me too. I'd
Yeah.
never been in a bunny.
You were
I
the
was
white,
so
but
sad
no.
that
I was a black
couldn't
bunny.
be a
The
bunny.
older
Corinna was the
ones.
white. You, yeah, we were all the black
like
bunnies.
if you were like a certain year, they were
Well,
black.
Playmate. Well,
Oh, the not- I didn't
thought
know
it was
that.
Playmate
They
Equality.
said because I
Playmates were
remember I was kind of like, but they
Oh.
said that
Yeah.
the black bunnies
There we
was
go.
an honor
Yeah.
because if you were older or whatever. But
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I
That's
never got
such
to
a
put on a
love
bunny
photo.
costume. I'm going to no matter
We're gonna
what.
get our own.
I
made.
It
love
won't be
that
the
photo.
same
I
without
wasn't
Hef,
there.
but
That's
I-
a
Oh, you
great
weren't there?
picture.
It's a great photo,
I
right?
think it was
I
having
wasn't
babies
either.
or something.
Brandy, that was me.
No
I,
way.
well, I
No,
had my
yeah.
daughter, and we had things going on.
No.
Yeah.
Because Stella was 4
She's-
years old already there.
In the front row, they
And
have all
our-
the PMOYs.
Stella
If you
and your son
notice
are
like
the same.
that,
Oh,
it
are
was
you
like,
serious?
I don't know
yeah.
what I was
Yeah, I was
doing then.
surprised that you weren't there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Kayla.
I was just trying to act like we were left
So
out.
the context. What? Excuse me?
I love doing that to you. Oh my gosh. So I want to ask, because it is Hef's parties, because we were talking about how legendary they were. I mean, we could sit here for hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours on that alone,
Yeah.
aside from so many other legendary things. But Playmate of the Year, how it was a special honor. And since this is Playmate of the Year table,
Yep.
I think I just wanted to ask both of you, you know, do you remember that day and that honor and that
Or
recognition?
was it a blur?
Mine. You know what I liked about mine, because when I had picked, when I became PMOY, it was kind of a big deal because they had never had an African American
Right.
Playmate of the Year.
It was a very.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but I liked it because and then everybody's like, oh, Hef picked her because she was black. So then,
No, not true.
Yeah, no, but I know, but it was like in 1990.
Yeah.
But he'd actually picked me in January,
Mhm.
but then like in June they had announced Miss America was black, Miss USA was black, and another one was black. So it looked
interesting.
like
yeah,
Hef
Yeah.
had jumped on the bandwagon,
Yeah.
although he picked me before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway, but I liked it because when he jumped up at the party and he said, you know what? He said, I know a lot of people are saying that it looks like I picked an African American because it was the right thing.
Right.
Or he goes,
Right.
to just jump on the bandwagon. He goes, but you know what? He's like, I'm ashamed it took me 35 years to do it.
Oh, I
And
love
he
that
said,
told you
he
that.
said, so you know what?
Good for
And
him.
then after that, like when he jumped up there, and I just was so proud. And then after that, there's always been an African American featured in, because before me, Ola Ray was the last one, which was in '81. So there was like an 8 or 9 year stint with no
Interesting.
African Americans. They were getting a lot of heat
Uh-huh.
for that. So then when I came along, but he's like, it's got to be the right girl. It's got to be the right girl. And African American women weren't doing the submissions because he said there was like, when I was talking to Arnie, he's like, there's some sort of a stigma with posing nude.
Really?
He goes, so they couldn't, the submission rate was really
They
low.
just, yeah.
And so
women
he
just
said,
weren't
when you
submitting.
came along, you were like the first one that Hef was like, cool, this one
And
fits the
fit the
criteria.
bill,
Yeah,
like-
and fit the bill.
And
Yeah.
we all know Hef would never jump on a bandwagon. Hef
Yeah,
did
exactly.
what
But
he
yeah.
wanted to do,
Yeah.
not for
So
the
that's
sake
what
of
I
anybody
remember the
else.
most, because
saw.
he just validated me to be like, you know what, it's not because she's black, it's because I wanted her. So
Yeah.
it made me feel
Yep.
special. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I
Very much
remember.
so.
the
And
most.
and
That's
for
awesome.
for the audience that don't, you know, maybe listening for the first time, don't even really know the history of Playboy. Renee Tenison is a twin, an identical twin.
Yep.
They look so much alike, and I
They do? They're
No,
identical?
They're
and they look
identical
alike?
and they look
Weird.
so much alike. I know. It's profound. You wouldn't
Very
think so.
profound.
Them being identical and everything. But now Rosie didn't want to post.
Yeah,
She
what's
didn't.
the-
She regretted it because
Yeah.
I remember I asked her. I said, "Hey,
You could've
girl,"
been
I was like, you know, I got this opportunity to go do Playboy, and I was like, "What do you think?" You know, I was like, "We should do it."
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh no," and I was like,
Oh,
"What
no.
do you mean?" She's like, "Everybody's gonna think you're a sleaze." And I remember I was like, "What?"
That's what she said. You're like, me?
I was like, "All right." I was like,
Oh my
"Whatever."
gosh.
I was like, you know what? I was like, if that's what they think. Oh well.
Oh, well.
I was like, I'm gonna go
Right,
do it
yeah.
anyway. I said, sleaze or not, I'm
Yeah.
going to Chicago.
Awesome.
I said,
Yeah.
and then it just turned out so great. But then, you know, 10 years later, Hef was like, I really want
Yeah.
to get you guys. And he went and made it
course,
right.
yeah.
Was like, I want to, you know, then we did the pictorial together.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
That
which
was a gorgeous
huge.
picture.
So that was
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
PMOY story.
Yeah, I love it. And what about you, Brandy? What do you? Well, for you, you were probably right there. Or did you get?
Wait,
I am
wait,
gonna
I
ask
actually have a
about-
question about the parties. Do you think that they were themed around like your personality, the PMOY parties, your luncheon, around your personality, your layout? Because each one I went to was uniquely different.
I think they were all the
Very
same.
similar.
Really?
They
No,
always
they,
had
were-
the
they
same.
were similar. They
They
were
were-
different.
Right,
Yeah.
Lacey-
Lacey,
different.
Lacey
They were
knows. They
different.
had all the white lattice with all the flowers.
Really?
It was
I
always
could've
the same.
sworn-
Yeah,
It was
the
always
pink
the same
flowers,
white
the pink-
lattice.
the
with
big
Maybe I'm thinking about
flowers,
the
yeah, the
pictures
big
were
flowers.
different.
Those
The
were
pictures
different.
were
Yeah.
different. Ding, ding,
Echo,
ding.
it was
The
different
Playmate
every
was
year.
different.
The PMOY was
Oh,
different.
my bad.
Every
See?
year.
You were just looking at the pictures, like,
We're pretty
wow.
smart here.
I wasn't.
Yes, we've just figured it. We've solved all the
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
in the world.
Okay, now it's very clear. Thank you.
But
That's funny.
Yeah.
there were unique in that every girl was unique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Because I remember tons of playmates from decades past came to mind, and my whole family was there, and it was very interesting. You know, do you remember that day, Brandy? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
day.
it was exciting.
Huge.
My grandma was there,
Aw,
my aunt and uncle, of
cute.
course, my parents, my brother and his wife, and my little niece in her belly. But it was a very special day. I remember being extremely nervous about the speech. You know,
Oh,
we had to
God,
give
yeah.
a speech.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god,
Oh,
nerve wracking. But it was a very special day. I had a great time.
but did you read a poem?
Poem. Home. Did you?
read a poem? Yes.
Oh,
Why?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's funny. I laugh about these things because I was anyway. I was a
That's
baby.
great. That's beautiful.
I was a baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were you
So,
19?
so you're like, I'm
she
gonna read
was
a poem.
very. No, I look
Yeah.
at Renee. I look at Lisa Matthews.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
look at Brandy,
I was
and
older.
I look at myself, and I'm like, what the hell? What were they thinking? And whoever put my outfit together, it was just wrong.
It was just.
I think of every Playmate of the Year, not to bring this up,
How
but
old were
just an
both of you
interesting
when you
tid-
shot? Because she was 18.
I was 19, or I
Okay,
was
so
19
you-
when I
so
became
you were a-
PMOY. I was
yeah, you
young.
were a baby.
I
You
was
were young.
25. And
So you were definitely a bit older, which is
20
better in my opinion because I too
Yeah.
was 18
Oh
and
my
way too
gosh,
young.
yes.
I was
Yeah.
either 25 or I might have been 26. I think
That's
I was-
the perfect age to do Playboy.
Something
Yeah,
like
mid
that.
so
20s.
too.
Yeah,
If
for
I
sure.
knew, well, Brandy and I earlier were
Mhm.
talking about if we only knew now what we knew then,
Yeah.
or right,
Well,
realize
what I was saying is like
the
the
power.
power that we had back then.
I
If
know.
only like when you're young, you don't think about that power. You're just still kind of a little insecure and this and that.
You
And I
could
think
have,
back,
you could have been unstoppable.
girlfriend, you know, you could have
Exactly.
done with
Oh
that
my
power.
goodness.
Because also I was the very first Baywatch babe to ever be Playmate of the Year. Like there were
Oh,
a million
yeah.
Playmates,
Yeah, you're
Playmates on
right.
Baywatch,
Right,
but
right.
not Playmate of the Year. So I was the first,
Yes.
Playmate of the Year to be Baywatch, whatever. So there was just at the same time, like that
Perfect
power.
timing.
Are
Yeah,
you
you
kidding
could've-
me?
timing.
Yeah.
Skyrocket.
Like, I
you know,
really
you think of so
knew
many
that,
things.
You know, you
Yeah.
could talk to your younger self. You know.
Oh, believe you me,
Yeah.
I was terrified of everything. And, you know, I represented well. You remember going and doing all of the promotions and the things that we were, I mean, do you remember things like, I want to know your story. I'm not going to talk about me, but I got a police escort at one point
Yeah.
in a limo
Mhm.
before. Imagine if we had social media then and the police, like I was
Yeah.
the president. And I was,
Right.
I remember,
Right.
do you remember those
Oh,
times?
yeah.
But you were at the Indy 500.
Oh, yeah.
Of
But
course
still,
you got.
I
because-
mean, we were able to
Oh,
go
yeah.
and do these incredible
Mm.
things.
We were celebrities back then. The
Yeah.
difference
Yes, it was a
between
big deal.
when we did Playboy, like the Playmates were actually
Mhm.
really
Celebrities.
famous because, like,
Yeah.
you know, you had Pamela, you had Anna Nicole, you had like, so there was a celebrity
In the
that was
90s.
attached with
And,
Playboy.
In the- yeah,
and
in the 90s and the-
celebrities in the 90s really loved
They
Playmates.
did.
Mhm.
All the way, you
Well,
know.
I mean, you know who
I have
would
to
go
say,
to
I
the
think
parties.
Yeah,
Playboy
yeah,
just
exactly.
totally like fell off after you were Playmate of the Year. I have to.
It ended with Brandy,
Yeah,
and
but
that's
I
why we have her
actually-
here.
Of course it did.
It was like
Oh my
that was it. The best of the best of the
Going
best.
downhill
Yeah,
now.
years for
Oh my
sure.
goodness.
Yeah,
It was
it
definitely-
started kind of being like,
Do you think Hef's eyesight was getting
yeah,
bad then? I'm just
diminishing.
kid-
at
I'm
that
totally
point.
joking. God forgive me. That was wrong.
Hef, we love you. We know
No.
you're here with us. It was just a
That
joke.
was wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, we were lucky because we did not have the paparazzi
Yes.
and all of that.
And social media
Yeah.
and all that
Exactly.
shit.
That's why
Yep.
the parties were so
They were
amazing.
epic.
Oh my
Legendary.
Like,
goodness.
were
every
epic.
celebrity you
Everybody
could
was there.
imagine was there. Now you
Leo.
couldn't do that.
And you
Leo,
didn't-
George
everybody,
Clooney,
Spielberg, everybody,
privacy.
everybody was at these
You
parties.
You know what I
like,
loved about
everybody.
Hef? Privacy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
Yes.
big
That's the
deal. And respect.
Yeah.
And we don't have privacy and respect anymore.
And he
could
wasn't
do anything
exploiting
back in
anybody.
those
He
days.
wasn't trying to go
No.
get like, oh, look what this celebrity did.
No,
They would
you're
actually
at
go there
home
and have
here.
fun. Yeah.
Kick your feet up.
Be safe.
And it wasn't what people thought.
Yeah.
I have so many people, oh, it was orgies and this and that.
I
I'm like, are
know.
you kidding me? It was some of the most prolific people. You could
know,
have
yeah.
some of the most
Yep.
incredible conversations with people. I mean, I'm sure when I say that, we have people wouldn't believe who was there.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
really
yeah.
was epic. It was
Everybody.
epic.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the privacy and the parties and how amazing and over the top they were. So we had interviewed the Butlers when we first started this back in May, and the show got erased, unfortunately, but they're coming back in.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
But it was really, really interesting to interview the Butlers and have that.
Yeah.
Oh, the behind the
POV,
scenes.
Yeah.
You know, like
absolutely.
we can talk
Yeah.
about it because we spent a lot of time
Yeah.
there, but I learned even that much more. And
Yeah.
the most interesting story I think that was shared was somebody had come in to do a shoot of the interior of the mansion for like an architectural digest
Uh-huh.
or architectural magazine or something, and so they had to clean up Hef's room, and Hef's room was just stocked with,
Yeah.
like he
Stuffed
collected
animals
stuff
everywhere.
yeah,
and
yeah.
He
And
had
so they
just
had
come
to
into the
literally
fold.
go in there with
Yeah.
Polaroid and take a Polaroid of every part of the room and take everything out, clear it out
Wait,
for them to
he
shoot
let
it.
them do that?
Yeah,
That was the only way it would be done. And then they had to put it all back.
Wow.
We're
Exa-
learning this more and
But
more
why
because
would
we
they
didn't
even
know him
take
like
his
you
personal
did.
stuff out? Because
Because
you think
you-
that's why they would want it.
Yeah, but it doesn't look good when it was
For
so
Architectural
cluttered like that. So
Digest,
they wanted
yeah.
to actually like show like the
The
house.
actual
But
architecture.
yes,
of,
the
like, all
architecture
the
without
wood.
any
Yeah.
without
But
all of
speaking
his
of that, of
papers
the
and-
interior of
Yes.
the mansion
Yeah.
or the decor,
Mhm.
which it was certainly always a question I had going back 20 years later. I was like, why the hell did they still have this damn carpet here that is just worn the hell out? And
could-
so
he didn't,
nothing
like,
was ever
change.
changed.
Brandy
No,
would
but
know
no,
this.
it was.
It was
Every couple of years, but it was the same exact carpet they put in.
No
Oh, this is
So
even
they
more
just kept
fascinating.
taking out the
I didn't
green
know that.
carpet
It
and
looked
putting
like it was
green
the
back in.
same. Wow.
No
Good.
change.
Yeah.
But so at least it was replaced. Well, now we learned
Now
something
we learned
new.
something new.
No, it was always new. Like even the orange this, the green that. It was just
Yeah.
replaced.
Thank
with
you
the
for
same-
telling me
Wow.
that because I really got
Yeah.
kind of icked out.
That blows
Yeah,
me
no,
away.
No, all brand new,
Yeah.
but it just was the same.
exact same.
Yeah,
But what a
fascinating.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful piece of property. I
Yeah.
mean, my God, that
Yeah.
was
Barbie
just-
Benton found it for him.
I know.
remember?
Yes.
Barbie.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
the animals.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Did you know?
I know. I
And
still
you probably
love
did
them.
know this. Hef being a huge philanthropist, he obviously he had a zoo license at the
Mhm.
mansion. I think it's the only one in the
The only
city
one in
of
Beverly
Yeah.
Hills.
LA.
Oh.
LA.
period.
And the
Yeah.
entire
Of
LA.
LA,
you're
right? Lacey?
wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and then he actually he gave a lot to zoos and foundations all around the world, and actually got a bunch of those animals from different zoos and brought them to the mansion.
Oh,
We just
which
found
they were
this
like
out.
rescues.
Yeah,
kind of,
how
yeah.
cool
Which
is
is what's
that?
fascinating to me because here's Brandy, who knew him very well, but we're noticing
never
this about him.
yeah, he's
he would
never
never
like,
let
"I
his
did
right
this," or,
hand
"I
see
did
what his
that."
left
No.
hand's
Never,
doing.
yeah.
He would never
Right.
brag. He would never say, "Oh, I'm giving and I'm doing
Never.
this."
No.
I didn't know he
He
did
was
all
so
this stuff for civil
humble.
rights.
Right.
I didn't know any of it.
He was like a
Huge.
leader
I
in
get
civil
goosebumps.
rights.
I
You didn't know
literally-
that?
No, I did.
Wow,
When I did
yeah.
Playboy,
Wow.
they'd asked me to. Vic Bullock was doing something, some kind of a show, and he asked me to do a part of it. And so I went to this premiere, but I literally was blown
Yeah,
away.
when you
Yeah.
'Cause
found
he
that
was like
out.
he
yeah.
was with
Yeah.
like Martin Luther King. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was like doing segregation.
Yep.
He lit
Yep.
like that man. He really truly took.
lines.
Yeah, he was front lines, and he took a
Yeah.
stand for
Yep.
equality with
Yep.
African.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
was so good about
Yeah.
our issue
Yeah.
because I felt like
Mhm.
he would have been like
Well,
right
he,
on.
that's where
Excited
all
about
his
it.
all his donations went to.
Yeah.
That's what he donated for everything with civil rights.
And
that
even
was
for
his
women
thing.
too. For
Oh,
us,
oh,
all
equal
sexual
rights
rights,
for
all for
everything.
both.
He
If
was
you
a
think
total
about it, it was
feminist.
for
He was-
women,
Yep.
No,
and
all
also
civil
too
rights.
for equality
Yep.
on both fronts for
Exactly.
women to be
Yep.
treated equal with
Yep.
sexism and all that stuff and empowering women. He
Yep.
probably did the most for us because
Yep.
That's
And
I was
First
in
Amendment
my
rights.
college. I was in
Yep.
FITM, and they were doing a class on American history, and they went off JFK, and then they went off Martin Luther King, and then there was a whole thing about Hef.
Nice.
in the college
Yeah.
books, and he sparked the sexual revolution. And I was like,
Yep.
going, wow, I can't
Yeah.
believe I know this guy.
Yeah.
That's in this freaking history book.
Well, this is
that
why
I-
we
yeah.
are doing this
This
show.
show.
Because
Yes, is we
you
want-
don't,
People don't know.
They have
they
no
don't
idea
know,
about
and he
the
don't
should
know.
be
history
honored
behind
for
it.
those things
Yes.
because those things made a difference.
For women,
Yeah.
for women, and that's what this guy was like. This guy, he made it okay for women to have an orgasm. He made it okay for women to own it. He was
He
like,
helped
did,
marriages.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm sure
I was
that
like,
so many
Hef did all
marriages
that?
were-
Do,
Yeah,
do you know?
I
Do you know?
didn't know.
Do you know
I
what he
didn't
said?
know.
Remember when we interviewed Jim Peterson? So Jim Peterson was a staff writer for the company for 20, 30 years, right? And he worked in the Chicago offices, and he was young in his 20s. And Hef came to him and he said, I want you to go out there and write from your POV about the sexual revolution. And so he was hands-on. He went into all the clubs and the orgy clubs and the,
Yeah.
you know, dollar for a lick
To
and
really
da-da-da, and
get
traveled around the
lines,
world.
tough
And to
job.
be able to write about
And
it.
during the AIDS
you know?
pandemic, when everyone was
And then
afraid of
he-
AIDS,
And then
Yeah.
he's the one that wrote the book, The Sexual Revolution, and Playboy's
Wow.
responsibility for it. And by far, that has been the most fascinating interview so
Yeah.
far that we have
Wow.
done.
I bet.
I mean, we are learning so much,
Yeah.
you guys.
He was
It is-
really great. I mean,
Yeah.
greatness, but people
Yeah.
don't even get it.
Yeah.
No,
'Cause
he
even
was-
I was kind of, I was like, I'm just happy
Yeah.
to know him. I just
Right.
I was so happy
Right.
and honored.
one
to
of the
we
be
few,
there.
get it.
there are a few icons. He
Yeah.
was an icon and a
He
fixture in
was.
American history that you can say, and that's Playmates, and we're all honored.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
aside, I mean, with the writers and the art and the all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Just everything. I mean, it can go
everything,
on
and the
on.
way
Talk
it
about a
all went
legacy. Yeah.
together.
He left an amazing legacy.
Well, he
you
did,
think-
but I think it's being shattered, and that's why we are doing this
Yeah,
show.
we don't like this
because
cancel
We don't
stuff.
like the stuff that's happening.
This cancel
So-
stuff.
So we're going to ask a couple more questions, and then we've got to let you ladies go. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to start with in 2016, the Playboy that exists today did a complete makeover from bottom to top. That included Playboy.com to be a work-friendly site that you could pull up, and then yanking nudity from the magazine, right? So when you saw all this go down, what did you ladies think? Brandy, let's start with you.
I don't know. I don't know if I know what you're talking about.
So Playboy, the magazine.
I'm so like out of
I don't
it.
even know where we are right now.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
are we?
happening?
So in 2016, shortly after Heffa died, and the company had already been sold previously,
Yeah.
several years before he passed. Whoever was running the company, I don't know, they decided it'd be a good idea to do a complete overhaul of the magazine from bottom to top, including Playboy.com being a user-friendly site that you could pull up at work, right
Mhm.
down to let's not do nudity in the magazine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I thought they were so off the mark with that.
it was
And
so
to
bizarre.
the fans, to everybody that
It's
like
like,
read,
what?
they let everybody
Yeah.
down by
It
taking
made
his
no
thing
sense.
and
Right?
doing
It made
was
no
a
sense.
disappointment.
Like
Okay.
what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they brought it back, I was like, okay, that they obviously realized that didn't work. So
Right, and then
they
it
finally
was
brought back
like,
nudity again.
Yeah, and
They
then
should have
it's
just
too
left
late.
it alone. And
Yeah.
I truly, if
Travesty
they'd
for
have left it
whoever
alone-
took that
I
over.
know
Playboy would
why
still be
they
here.
did it. It was because I told them to. no, but
Corinna was in their ear. She's like, you listen here.
I'm like, there's no more damn nudity. What the hell? Let's go back.
Yeah, that was
But
weird.
I'm telling you, it was a PR move that they thought would get attention. Like what? And
Yeah.
it was
Instead,
yeah.
they
Backfired.
lost
It
their ass.
makes no sense. Yeah.
No.
It was dumb.
So, one of our favorite things that we've been doing with each guest that's come on the show is we finish the show with 2 questions. The first one is
3 words to describe Hef. First, we'll ask.
Oh. Wow.
it can be anything. Brandy?
Gracious,
Very good.
giving, lovable.
I love that.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'd say generous,
Yeah,
loving, and inspiring.
there you go. There you go.
Beautiful.
Yep.
If you could say something to him, thinking of
In memoriam.
in memoriam,
Had you had the chance.
yes, what would you say to Hef about what your life has been
Yeah,
like
and your
and how?
experience.
I would thank him from the bottom of my heart for that opportunity for this farm girl out of Idaho, and just thank him because that opportunity, not only did it change my life, it changed everybody in my whole family's life. So
Nice.
it changed my brother's life. It changed my twin sister's life. It changed my whole entire, not only did he change my life, it changed everyone's life around me because of that opportunity he gave me, which he believed in me, so I would just say thank you so much for giving me that opportunity and that blessing, because without that, God knows where I would what I would have been doing, but I'm living my dream thanks to that man, because he put me in like an opportunity. So I'm just
that's been
forever grateful.
Yeah,
forever
that's been
grateful.
the common remark from everybody is just they're like, how do you even say that? And everybody just goes, thank you.
Yeah,
and
right.
Like,
What
would you say?
What about you, Brand?
And
like, what would I say to him now? Like, if I could say one thing to
no,
him?
like if you
or...
knew him when he was passing, if you had that time that you actually got to see him face to face or talk to him, and did you? I mean,
I did.
Right?
I think.
Okay.
I mean, I'm thankful
you
that I got
probably
to.
We
didn't get. Well, I feel like I didn't get a proper
but
send off, and it makes me sad. So I love to hear. What.
Yeah, I mean, of course, mine would be the thankful thing as well. Because,
and I love you, and you know, thank you for the ride.
I mean, I would say if I could say something now to him, I would say, "I love you, honey bunny."
Aww.
And now to plug everything. We hate to rush like this.
Now we're gonna go into the plugging.
We're gonna have you guys back. I'm telling you. Yeah, because we're not gonna cry again. I'm not crying.
We're gonna have to do a much longer.
But Brandy,
segment.
we didn't go on and on about all of these. I mean, your boutique, I didn't even realize Brandy had written this incredible book. I will read it.
So let's start with you,
even
Brandy. Show us. Wait,
well,
you
we
got
should
some
yeah.
wine here
We
too.
should start
Let's
with
pour
this
it.
because we're hot and this is cold.
Yes,
let's
it's hot
pour that
in here, y'all.
Please.
It is hot.
I'll help you.
Okay, I moved to Temecula.
We're gonna taste Brandy's wine. She's a vintner.
I started a vineyard on my property. And
property. How cool.
So I'm doing a rosé, and I also have Pinot Grigio, which I sell. This Pinot Grigio, this is my boyfriend's winery, Robert Renzoni. But these are my grapes, but I sell them to him. Yeah,
right on.
So it's
that
from
is
my property.
so rad that you started on your property. Good for you, baby.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
No, you don't get any. Nope. Nope.
How dry I am.
Okay. There you go.
And then I'm also doing a rosé. So
I love my rosé all day.
Ooh,
anywho,
this is wonderful.
yeah, this is just fun.
I
ladies, do you
love
want
a
some?
good Pinot Grigio, and this smells fabulous.
Really tasty.
What is it
Little
called,
sweet,
Brandy?
little-
What is
very
your
good.
wine? Where can
And
people
where do we buy
purchase
it?
your wine?
This one you just go to his winery at Robert Renzoni, and then
Robert
it's in all
Renzoni.
the restaurants in
Okay.
Temecula also. But yeah. Yeah, and then my rosé will be out, and I'll be selling that
And
everywhere.
then you've got your book right
Yay.
here too.
Yeah, Bounce Don't
And
Break.
I had no idea you written a book either.
You know what's fun about this? When Playboy was still around, they gave this to all the new Playmates. So this was like their
that's
little
amazing.
their little guidebook.
That's a
which
good
was,
one.
You know,
and
that was
an encouragement
awesome.
to show what you can do. You know,
Yeah.
that you
Success.
can't. Yes,
Yeah.
success.
It's just, a guide to life, love, and success, and showing what you can do, thinking
Congrats,
outside the
that's
box, and
great.
going after what you want and what
Yeah.
what your dreams are.
And where can people get that?
Amazon or where would you get yours? Yeah, Amazon, wherever.
Amazon.
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Miss Renee, let's hear about that boutique.
I have a
And
clothing
Corinna
store.
is
Thank you,
coming
thank
to
you.
And we're gonna
Yes, I'm gonna
dressed
outfit
by
you, ladies.
She has
Oh
the
my
cutest
goodness.
Yes,
stuff.
I'm gonna outfit
in
you,
her-
ladies.
her shop.
Yes.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, so we have two locations, one in the Westfields, Sherman Oaks, and one in the Westfields, Topanga Village. And you can go to bargastore.com. It also has stuff, but it's just fun. It's kind
I
of
love the
vintage
name
inspired.
Varga.
It's inspired by Alberta
I
Vargas.
love
this
Yes.
dress.
Yes, but it's kind of got that vintage feel. It's not, the stuff's not vintage, but it's kind of like that pencil skirts and sexy
Yeah.
stuff and
I
can't
corsets.
wait.
And yeah, so it's
Love
really
that.
fun, really sexy. And I want to outfit you ladies because it'll be
Absolutely.
amazing. You'll love it.
Please.
I have to
yes,
share.
Yes,
Please.
If you're going to
Love
events,
it.
let me know.
Yeah,
I've outfitted a couple Playmates.
I have to
nice.
share funny. Just yesterday morning, I was actually showing my 10-year-old daughter your site. I pulled it up, and she's like so fashion forward. I'm like, God, I'm always amazed by her. But I was showing her the corsets, and she looks at me, she goes, "Mom, I just really wish that they would make corsets for like big women because there's women of all sizes." And I was like, I love you.
Right
So when I go,
on.
they
Yeah.
do.
That's right.
I promise you, they
She
do.
puts
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
goes through my
She's-
suitcase when
yeah.
I'm visiting.
Oh, yeah,
and
she's like, what's
she'll
that?
model my clothes, and I'm having
Little
I'm like,
fashionista.
And she'll put together
Totally, she's so
shoes
cute.
with some right. She's like, these shoes actually go, and she's spot on. I'm like, those do.
So
do go with that much better.
the URL is Varga
Bargastore.com.
Vargastore.com.
Yeah.
Okay. And you, what do you have to promote over here,
I'm
Missy?
not promoting anything. You just made me do this. I'm just sitting here enjoying
Let's
these
do a
beautiful
toast then.
humans.
I am so
Cheers.
grateful for you ladies.
Oh,
Thank
thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. God
You guys
bless
are doing
you.
right by Hef and Playboy, and he would be so proud of you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank
We
you,
know that
Renee.
we have
Thank
his
you
blessing and
for
he
that.
is here
He
with
would.
us.
He'd be
and-
so
and
proud.
Thank you.
He's watching right now. So
Yeah,
to
tell
have-
Thank you so much.
For the
Yes,
gifts and the
thank
blessings.
you.
Amen.
Yes, they are.
That's so good to give us good, good PR
Yes,
and just good everything. So
yes,
people
yes.
hear this stuff
Yes,
that
yeah.
people don't
No,
hear.
because
you know what I
he
mean?
would have never tooted his own
Yeah,
horn.
that's what I'm saying. Like I would toot it for him.
Yeah.
So
We're
it's really
tooting.
nice.
We're
Yeah.
tooting.
Hey, he wants us to toot his horn. We're tooting. Believe me, guys. He's so glad all of us are tooting his horn right
He's
now.
like, right on. He's like, right on. Those are my girls, right?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
good. This is good wine.
I wish
love
it was
It is
colder,
so good.
but
I
yeah.
think this is one, and I'm not. This is one of the best Pinot.
I know.
Grigios.
You know,
It's
it doesn't have a
delicious.
bite. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Beautiful.
Very great grapes. Your
Yeah.
grapes are good.
Yeah.
All right,
But-
ladies, it is time to
Dryer,
say
right?
au
How you make a
revoir
good-
and farewell.
Are we? Is she
I'm-
still recording?
I'm Echo. Who are you?
Corinna.
And this is
The,
the Bunny Chronicles. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.